Hey there, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here with me today because I have some really important news that could affect thousands of Social Security recipients across the country. If you've been waiting for Social Security back pay, or if you know someone who has, this video is going to be incredibly valuable for you. The Social Security Administration just announced a major timeline update that could mean money in your bank account as early as August. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into this together. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this entire video because I'm going to break down everything you need to know in simple terms that actually make sense. All right, let's talk about what's happening. The Social Security Administration recently made an announcement that has a lot of people talking. They've given us a clearer picture of when back pay deposits might start hitting bank accounts. Here's the story in simple terms. You know how sometimes when you apply for Social Security benefits, there can be delays? Maybe your application took months to process, or perhaps there was an appeal involved. During all that waiting time, you were still entitled to those benefits. That money you should have received during the waiting period, that's what we call back pay. Now, the SSA has been working through a massive backlog of these cases. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of people who are owed money. The good news is that they've finally given us a timeline. According to the latest SSA bulletin, back pay deposits could begin as early as August 2025. That's next month for some of you watching this. But here's what you need to understand. This doesn't mean everyone will get their money in August. This is when the process begins. Let me paint you a picture with some real numbers. The SSA estimates that approximately 2.1 million Americans are currently waiting for some form of Social Security back pay. That's a huge number. The average back pay amount varies widely, but according to recent data, it ranges from about $3,000 to $15,000 per person. Some cases involve even larger amounts. The SSA has divided these cases into priority groups. Group 1 includes people who applied for disability benefits and have been waiting the longest, some for over 2 years. These folks will likely see their payments first. Group 2 includes retirement benefit adjustments and other administrative corrections. Group 3 covers appeals and recalculations. Here's something really important to understand. The SSA isn't just randomly sending out checks. They're following a specific process. First, they review each case to make sure the calculations are correct. Then they verify banking information. Finally, they schedule the actual deposit. The Social Security Administration has also made it clear that they're prioritizing cases based on financial hardship. If you're in a particularly difficult financial situation, your case might be moved up in the queue. They're also focusing on people who are 65 and older first. Now, I want to share some specifics about how this process works because understanding this can help you know what to expect. When the SSA processes your back pay, they don't just send you one lump sum. They actually break it down by year. So if you're owed money from 2022, 2023, and 2024, you might receive separate deposits for each year. This is actually good news for tax purposes. Instead of getting hit with a massive tax bill all at once, the payments are spread out in a way that's more manageable. Each year's payment is taxed as if you received it in that year, which often results in lower overall taxes. The SSA has also improved their notification system. When your back pay is processed, you should receive a notice in the mail explaining exactly how much you're getting and when to expect it. This notice will arrive about 7 to 10 days before the actual deposit hits your account. One thing that's really encouraging is that the SSA has hired additional staff specifically to handle these back pay cases. They've added over 500 new employees to their processing centers. This means faster turnaround times and fewer errors. But here's something you absolutely need to know. If your address or banking information has changed since you first applied, you need to update that information immediately. The SSA can't send your money to an old address or a closed bank account. Make sure your information is current by calling 1-800-772-1213 or visiting your local Social Security office. Now, I'm really curious about your situation. Are you currently waiting for Social Security back pay? How long have you been waiting, and what has your experience been like with the Social Security Administration? Drop a comment below and let me know. I read every single comment, and your experiences help other viewers understand what to expect. Also, if you've already received back pay recently, share your timeline with us. When did you apply? How long did it take? What was the process like? Your story could really help someone else who's going through the same thing. Let me give you some practical steps you can take right now to make sure you're ready for this back pay process. First, gather all your documentation. You want to have your Social Security award letter, any correspondence from the SSA, and records of when you first applied. Keep these documents in one place where you can easily find them. Second, double-check your information with Social Security. Log in to your My Social Security account online at ssa.gov. Make sure your address, phone number, and banking information are all current. If anything has changed, update it immediately. Third, if you haven't heard anything about your case in a while, don't be afraid to call. The SSA customer service line is 1-800-772-1213. Yes, you might be on hold for a while, but it's worth it to get an update on your case. Here's a pro tip that many people don't know about. You can actually request a status update in writing. Send a letter to your local Social Security office asking for an update on your back pay case. Include your Social Security number and a copy of your ID. This creates a paper trail and often gets faster results than phone calls. Fourth, start planning for when the money arrives. I know it's tempting to think about all the things you want to buy, but remember that a portion of this money might be taxable. Set aside about 15 to 25% for taxes, depending on your overall income situation. It's better to have too much set aside than not enough. Fifth, if you're receiving other government benefits like food stamps or Medicaid, understand that a large back pay deposit might temporarily affect your eligibility. Contact those agencies ahead of time to understand the rules. In many cases, Social Security back pay doesn't count against benefit limits, but it's better to know for sure. Let me also share some red flags to watch out for. Unfortunately, whenever there's news about government payments, scammers come out of the woodwork. The Social Security Administration will never call you asking for personal information or demanding immediate payment of fees to release your back pay. If someone calls claiming to be from Social Security and asks for money or personal information, hang up immediately. Also, be wary of companies or individuals who promise to speed up your back pay for a fee. The SSA doesn't work with third-party companies for back pay processing. Anyone who tells you they can expedite your payment for money is trying to scam you. Here's another important tip. Once you receive your back pay, resist the urge to make major financial decisions immediately. Yes, it's exciting to have that money, but take a few days to think things through. Pay off high-interest debt first, build up your emergency fund, and then consider other purchases or investments. If you're married, make sure you understand how back pay might affect your joint tax return. Sometimes it makes sense to file separately in the year you receive back pay, depending on your overall income situation. Consider talking to a tax professional if your back pay amount is substantial. Finally, keep detailed records of everything. Save all correspondence from Social Security, keep copies of deposit receipts, and document any phone calls you make. This information could be valuable if there are any questions or issues down the road. Let me give you a realistic timeline of what to expect over the next few months. Remember, this is based on the SSA's current announcements, but things can change. August 2025 is when the first wave of back pay deposits is expected to begin. This will likely include the most straightforward cases, people who have been waiting the longest and have all their paperwork in order. September and October will probably see a significant ramp up in processing. The SSA typically processes more cases during these months because they're trying to clear their backlog before the end of the fiscal year. November and December might see a slight slowdown due to holidays, but processing will continue. If you haven't received your payment by December, it doesn't mean there's a problem, it just means your case is taking longer to review. January through March 2026 will likely be when the majority of remaining cases are processed. The SSA often has renewed energy and resources at the beginning of the new fiscal year. Keep in mind that these are general timeframes. Your individual case might be faster or slower depending on various factors, like the complexity of your situation, whether all your information is current, and which priority group you fall into. All right, my friends, that's everything you need to know about the Social Security back pay timeline announcement. I know this can feel overwhelming, but remember, you're not alone in this process. Millions of people are going through the exact same thing. The most important thing to remember is to stay patient but proactive. Keep your information updated, follow up when necessary, but don't stress yourself out checking every single day. The money will come when it comes. If this video was helpful to you, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up. It helps more people find this information, and that's what this channel is all about, helping people understand their Social Security benefits. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell. I post new videos every week covering Social Security updates, Medicare changes, and other retirement-related topics that could save you thousands of dollars. I also want to remind you that I have a complete playlist about Social Security benefits that covers everything from how to apply to maximizing your monthly payments. You can find that playlist in the description below or by clicking the link that should be appearing on your screen right now. Do you have questions about Social Security that you'd like me to cover in future videos? Leave them in the comments section, and I'll do my best to address them. Your questions often become the inspiration for my next video topics. Before you go, remember that this information is current as of July 2025, but Social Security rules and timelines can change. Always verify information with the official SSA website or by calling their customer service line. Thanks so much for watching today, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourselves, and remember, your future self will thank you for staying informed about your benefits.